Welcome to the You Are a Grown Up, You Can Do Whatever You Want podcast,
where you can stop living for other people and start owning your own life and business. After all, you are a grown up. You can do whatever you want.
We are your hosts, Ben and Kirsten Tyrell.
Hey everybody, welcome to You Are a Grown Up, You Can Do Whatever You Want podcast. My name is Ben, and I'm here with Kirsten, and we are going to be talking about Module 6 of the Mindset Makeover course.
We hope you guys have been enjoying it and doing it and finding value in it. It's been really fun putting it together and really synthesizing our experience and how we've changed the way we think and the way we're functioning in our business and in our life. So if you haven't yet, go register for it. It's absolutely free. And like Ben said, we're on week 6, which is a really good one too.
Yeah.
This is one until you hear it, it's one of those things like you see a white car and then all of a sudden you see all the white cars. Abundance is one of those things, once you've talked about it, once you learn about it, you hear it everywhere. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden everybody's talking about the abundance mindset and, limitless potential, all this stuff. And abundance for me has been like that. I've interviewed people on my Marvelous Moms Club podcast who talked about abundance. It's just it's a good one. It's a feel-good thing, and it's a good thing to be exposed to and to learn about.
Yeah.
So what's your experience been with the abundance mindset? What do you think was the biggest aha when you learned about it? Was it money abundance? Was it like opportunity abundance? What was your biggest?
I think it was just everything, because like you're putting your
abundance.
Yeah. Like when you're having that purpose of thinking about, like the things that you're trying to attract, mm-hmm. the things that you're trying to achieve, then they just happen. Like they come to you. Yeah. And it works the other way too. If you have negative
scarcity,
if you have scarcity and if you have negative thoughts about things, they turn into that. They go away. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like a balancing act, because you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna bring all these things to fruition, mm-hmm. because I'm thinking positively and I'm thinking in abundance. But when it doesn't happen in your time frame, then
you're like, what the heck is happening? I'm so poor. There's so much scarcity in my life.
But then when you start thinking negative, it's like everything.
Oh yeah, it's so much more powerful for some reason.
Like it is like crazy. Like I know like the times when we've been like, oh my gosh, this thing isn't working, or we're not making as many sales on Amazon, or we're not doing this. And then like for weeks after that, it's just like it gets worse and worse and worse. And it's just like, it really is like this contagious thing on both sides. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like definitely like the abundance side of it takes longer to develop, mm-hmm. but it's there. Yeah. And so you kind of have to be very purposeful about having abundance mindset, because the negative is so quick to take mm-hmm. over.
I think for me, it was like realizing that I could deserve abundance, mm-hmm. and that it was possible to have abundance. Anybody could. And that I didn't realize how much of my life I had been living in scarcity mode. Mm-hmm. We realized this. We talked about this without even knowing the concept of abundance, that in school, it was like, okay, we have this much student loan. We have to make this last the whole school year. How are we going to do that? How are we going to like make this last? And then we'd sell a car, and it was like, okay, how are we going to stretch this extra money we have from, making a little profit? It was always, how can we stretch this? How can we make it last? Instead of, how can we turn this into more? Mm-hmm. How can we grow? How much more can we make? We talked about this on here, our studio, our photography studio. We knew we had to make at least that much to pay rent, and that's all we made. Yeah. Instead of like, how can we make rent and make a 20% profit over last month? Yeah. So,
but I think it really starts even before then, mm-hmm. like, because we both kind of had similar experiences growing up in regards to scarcity. Yeah. And so it's like, like if you grow up in a home that has an abundance mindset, like I'm so interested to see what our kids are going to be like.
I know.
Because
hopefully very different from us in that regard.
But the way that we're living our life and our mindset is so different than what we grew up with. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, like growing up, I didn't feel like I had much, mm-hmm. and I didn't feel like I deserved much, and so it took me a long time to realize that I deserved to have these things. Yeah. And like that I should just be okay with accepting the mediocre life of, get the 9-to-5 job, maybe make $40,000 a year, and but I don't know. I feel like nowadays you can't even survive in that mindset. Like
you can't, and that's I think why we've been so driven to share even more abundance with people. It's like it really makes me sad when people they are happy. There are people who are happy with very little means. But it frustrates me or makes me sad when people are like, oh, well, we're fine, like we'll have enough hopefully to retire. And it's like, are you even making provisions for if certain things come up? Like, how many GoFundMes have you seen when tragedies happen or when somebody needs support for a family member? It's like, you never know. And this day and age, like it's responsible and it's being a good member of society to want more. Not just so you can go on exotic vacations and have a huge house, but so that you can put enough aside so that if you didn't want to work for a year, you could. So you could go on many vacations, like the 4-hour work week. You don't have to necessarily want a lavish life, but being responsible is so much more than just making ends meet.
Yeah.
It's really like to be fiscally responsible anymore, everybody really should have $1 million goal. Because at that point, then you're kind of financially sound enough to really contribute back and to be able to do more, not just for your family, but for your community. I mean, imagine if we were all striving for that, how much better things would be. So on the flip side too, well, not the flip side, but on the same side of the coin, abundance mentality can apply to like success. And I think that's something that I've had to learn too. And I think that stood out in one of the books I read. I think it was even Entrepreneur Roller Coaster, maybe, which we've talked about before, that just because somebody else's business is successful doesn't mean that yours can't be. And how we live so much life. I mean, we were both in the arts. There's one part in the play, only one person can get it. So that kind of makes your mind think, well, really, like only this many people can make it to Broadway, or only this many people can be on the Rockettes, or only this many people can be in opera. There's only so many parts to play. When in the world of success, there's limitless parts to play. There's limitless opportunity. Everybody can find their place in the world. And I think that's something that's really hard to grapple with, and why there's so much jealousy and resentment and competition. Like, competition can be healthy and good, but it's really the opposite of the abundance mindset.
Well, it was like that interview with Chelsea Handler that's been around on Facebook and stuff, where, like, she was upset that her friend, like, she had encouraged her friend to do this comedy showcase, and then her friend ended up getting a call back, and she didn't.
Yeah.
And she was jealous, and she was angry, and it was like her sister that said, like, there's a place for everybody.
Yep.
You may not have been chosen this time, but you are you. Like,
there's only one you.
There's only one you, and you have a place in this world. And sometimes we just have to wait for that place to become available.
Yeah. So those are two of our favorite kind of ways to look at abundance. It doesn't just mean overflowing money more than you need. It's really like that whole abundance mentality of, there's just so much to it. So we put it into a module this week in the course. So you guys can go learn a little bit more about what abundance means and how you can start having more of that in your own life.
Yep.
So we'll see you over there, youareagrownup.com. And if you haven't yet, we're just going to bug you every single time to go leave us a rating and review on iTunes. If this podcast has been beneficial at all to your life, helping you think differently, helping you have a little more motivation and drive in your business or your life, leave us a rating and review and let us know. And if you guys have any questions about anything we've talked about, feel free to contact us through our website.
All right. Have a great day.
See you later.
This episode is brought to you courtesy of Bluehost.com, the very best hosting on the internet. Head over to youareagrownup.com right now and head to our resources tab and check out Bluehost. If you sign up there, we're going to give you $100 off your website setup. Great bonus, great opportunity. Bluehost is one of our favorite sponsors, so head over right now to youareagrownup.com.